1997 is set to see a resurgence of UFO fever. It's 50 years since a pilot, Kenneth Arnold, reported seeing flying saucers over Washington state. In July, it's the 50th anniversary of reports of a UFO crash at Roswell in New Mexico. Australian UFO researchers held celebrations over the weekend. Today's Tony Biancotti dropped in to investigate.
The Riverwood Legion Club in Sydney's southwest was the venue for a convention of the unconventional.
The lights are there, and they're not aircraft, planets, or radio towers, but are they extraterrestrial craft?
UFO researchers, astronomers and investigators of strange phenomena gathered to watch some spookiest home videos. There's a spate of conventions like this around the world for those who want to believe. Shows like The X-Files have made the topic trendy, and it's the 50th anniversary of reported UFO sightings at Roswell in New Mexico.
While the little boy was outside, he encountered what he described as a rectangular creature on legs.
There were even tales of close encounters of the French kind.
The next day, the gendarmes discovered a circle of flattened grass measuring 4 meters in diameter.
UFOs can bring UMOs, untold merchandising opportunities. There's a bevy of books and tapes, including field guides to identify different aliens. There are serious studies as well as silly T-shirts showing a sense of humour.
The study of UFOs and what's going on in the sky is an important thing, but also we try to make it a little bit of fun. There's a lot of...
Organiser Moira McGee says some extraterrestrial extremists have given more serious UFO researchers a bad name.
The problem is when you get cults like the Heaven Gate that turn it into a religion and you have something so tragic as those suicides, it can take away from our research and the scientific side of it and make people very wary of even discussing the possibility.
Tales of alien encounters send shivers down the spine and have invaded the creations of artist Julian Finch.
Basically, ever since I've been very young, I've seen many things in the skies which I can't explain. They defy any sort of logical reason. It's basically, I suppose, a quest for further knowledge.
It can be information overload, being bombarded with so many stories of alien abductions and other strange creature sightings. Researcher Glenys Mackay from Queensland revealed these recent photos of bizarre footprints found near Mount Tamborine.
Now, I measured it, and it was around 13.5 inches long. The interesting thing is the toe seems to be extremely long, and then there was 2 other little toes at the side.
Glenys says hundreds of everyday people witness strange events, but don't speak out for fear of ridicule. At UFO conferences, they can find others who believe.
When we have these meetings, it helps to bring people out of the woodwork and come along and realise they're not alone in their sightings and their experiences.
Researcher John Ockertell says he's noticing greater public acceptance of ufology.
In the past, though, you've had a more, I guess, wacko reputation.
Yes, terrible, yes. In fact, when I started, you couldn't say very much at all, because you'd be regarded as a nut, eccentric, or you're slightly mental in some sense.
Ufologists have to be on guard, though, against pranks and practical jokes.
Yes, hoaxing is very common, especially with videos now. And why that's the case is that technology's moved on so rapidly. Your 10-year-old at home can fake a UFO video in 2 seconds now.
At conventions like this, there are always more questions than answers, but organisers say it's vital that the search goes on.
So it is very, very important to keep that open mind, to keep searching for answers and to keep looking at strange phenomena.
The truth is out there.
Well, hopefully the truth is out there. It's finding that this is a problem.
Strange flying objects, lights in the sky and unusual patterns in paddocks. They're all signs of UFOs, according to many people who believe they've had a close encounter.
21 years ago, and that was going down the lake, and I knew little about UFOs then, and it was just very fast, just like that, not far off the top of the water. Then it shot off and straight up into the sky.
Lorna and other people have had the chance to hear about UFOs at a seminar held at Newcastle University. Do you believe in UFOs?
I believe in UFOs more than I believe in myself.
Why do you say that?
Because of all this reading and all the different people that I've spoken to that have had contact with different funny beings.
Tamworth author Rex Gilroy, who wrote Mysterious Australia, says UFOs are a part of our history.
All over Australia there are surviving myths and legends about unusual beings who come from the skies. In their cave art, some of these strange beings, or what appears to be some sort of flying craft, are often depicted.
Mike Farrell's a UFO researcher who's spoken to people who say they've seen aliens. So what does an alien look like?
Well, basically you have your the communion book cover classic grey alien, but there are lots of other different kinds of aliens, and for a lot of people it's more of a what you might actually call some kind of a spiritual experience where the form is not so important as the messages they're receiving or the kind of feelings they're having at the time.
Fact or fiction, it's a subject of passion for believers all over the world. Ravenna Carroll, Prime Local News.
Their eyes fixed to the sky tonight after a witness caught on video what may be a UFO. There have been reports filtering in from a 600-kilometre area ranging from Rockhampton to the Gold Coast.
This is the UFO Gladstone residents reported on Wednesday night.
The light was going from that area to that area, but there was no trail of light. It was just there 1 minute and here another minute.
Joan Mann was overwhelmed when she spotted it as she drove home from netball.
Raced into the driveway and I took off over to Margaret's to make sure she'd seen it. People think I wasn't the only one seeing this, and she come out.
Reported sightings on Wednesday night all concur, a pulsating light changing from white to blue to red. But what Michelle Mulby experienced on the same night in Ipswich was different. She was home alone when windows and doors started shaking.
You could feel the energy on top of the house. It was quite incredible.
2 days earlier, Mount Morgan resident Janet Burgess saw something over the knoll near her house.
It just took off, spinning, and it was blue, and it was just spinning and spinning.
The sightings remain a mystery tonight. The Air Force says it wasn't one of theirs, and the Weather Bureau has no answer. Jeff Mullins, 10 News.
Tonight, a UFO mystery in Adelaide. A resident has videotaped strange lights in the sky. The man is at a loss to explain the sighting, but a UFO expert is in no doubt.
Around 10 o'clock on June the 7th, these lights were seen travelling from south to north above Adelaide. It was a clear night, and from the foothills suburb of Taringi, Paco Navidad had a perfect view.
Well, they just appear in a form, one in front, three behind, and another three behind.
By the time Mr. Navidad grabbed his video camera, they were almost gone, but the sighting has confounded him.
I've never seen something like this in my life. That's why I went out and got the video, because I see planes every night. I see falling star, I see many things, but never seen this before.
A close inspection of the images reveals what appears to be smaller flashing lights on one of the objects, two above and one below. UFO expert Colin Norris believes there's no doubt what Mr. Navidad's video camera captured.
And the way that the chappie described it as coming across the sky rules out all flares and that type of thing. So, the good old word UFO, I believe it to be that exactly. So it's extraterrestrial in my opinion.
Mr. Norris says he received a number of other reports of orange lights in the sky on that night, but Adelaide Airport says it has no record of any unusual aircraft activity that night. The incident follows a spectacular sighting in the Queensland town of Gladstone last month, also recorded on video. Mark Smith, 10 News.
You never know.
Blue Island gets a lot of visitors through the year, but just how far do some of them travel to get there? There's been another UFO sighting in the night skies. A group of students on a camping trip from Ross Smith High School at Northfield are the witnesses.
What is that? It's the stuff of science fiction. Unexplained glowing objects moving in a pitch-black sky, witnessed by 15 students and their 2 teachers.
Stars don't do that.
What are they?
The group was on a 3-day camp at Vivon Bay on the south coast of Kangaroo Island, enjoying a bonfire, when 5 lights appeared and started moving towards them.
They just kept coming and coming, really bright lights, obviously not stars. They got really a lot closer to us. Then they lined up and stayed in formation.
According to the students, the objects were more than 50,000 feet above ground level.
A plane moved by after, about half an hour after, and it was much lower.
The students reported their sighting to police and also rang the UFO Society and Air Traffic Control, who couldn't explain the sightings. Some locals say they're not the least bit surprised at what the class witnessed. They believe UFO sightings above the island are on the increase.
Well, the last few weeks there's been a few people saying things around town and that, and blokes talking in the pub saying they've seen lights and things. A lady the other day said she was followed in her car.
Try telling that to the sceptics.
I wouldn't rule out at this stage the possibility of a hoax.
Melody Horrell for Nightline.
No, that's how they're meant to be. They don't know nothing, do they? No, that's how... We should go make the camping show. We used to do this at my mum's house in an open fire. We're going to get the jackets drawn. Have a number 1 as well, please? Yeah, or you even like, you know, when it was raining.
Carmen! I can't see what I'm filming, man. Come there, let me film.
There's two. Oh, shit.
What? Look at this one up there. Was that a flying beacon?
2 more. There's got to be airplanes. It's got to be UFO. It's got to be like a...
No, look, look how still they are.
Look, 2 more.
Yeah, but look how fast they're going compared to that. There's probably a logical explanation.
All right, that's it. I'm leaving. Get the bearing and let's go.
I can't see them through my camera. Can I have a look, Carmen? I can't see it. It's all like black. Can I have a look? Yeah, look at it. You can't do it. What is it? I've got a video camera, but it doesn't show up on there.
There's another one. There's 2 more.
What is it?
Smolder.
Are they stars?
No, stars don't do that.
What are they?
I don't know, stars don't move from there to there.
But planes don't just stop like that.
Hey, if this is ever on TV, I'd just like to say hi to all my family and friends out there. This is going to be on one of those stupid American specials.
I so believe that there's life somewhere else.
Who's got my torch? My torch is so powerful it would blind them.
You'd have to have a heaps narrow mind, I reckon, to think that we are the only life forms in the whole world.
I'm the sort of person that says, I don't believe it till I see it.
Wait, Carmen, we can sell this place and get millions now. You can't tell if you can see it though. You can't, can you? It's exactly the same.
Helicopters can hover, but not planes.
Lines have been igniting with feverish regularity in recent weeks. Brilliant, fast-moving balls of light have been reported in 5 states and 1 territory. The sightings have sparked a war of words between UFO groups, divided between those predicting the arrival of extraterrestrials and claims of a good old-fashioned hoax. Jill Colgan reports.
I've never seen anything like this before. This is just unbelievable. Well, I didn't see it. My husband did, and he is a real skeptic. It was a disc. It was just sitting there in the sky. It wasn't doing much. It was obviously a silver white disc.
There's something strange happening in the sky, particularly above Victoria.
This is how he told it to me. He said, I heard the dogs barking, but not barking like a normal bark. But he said there was just these lights in the paddock, and as I started to sort of go to the fence, they gathered in a group and just sort of shot off.
Witnesses to strange occurrences have been dialing in by the dozens, looking for answers.
It's been many, many calls each night with multiple witnesses with each call that's been coming in. We've had in about 160 calls over the last 3.5 weeks, and people are actually seeing orange lights, and it's a variation from 1 to 9 orange lights over that time period.
Wow, look at the light!
Southeast of Melbourne, households, entire streets have witnessed a rash of so-called unidentified flying objects. Diane Walkerton was called late one night by a neighbour to see the lights above their suburb of Narrawarren. She took this video after watching for several nights in a row.
We didn't say they were UFOs, we were just wondering what they were. We came out and we looked up in the sky and it's just orange light going across and it was just like, wow, you know, what is it? And there was clouds and it was really, really quiet. So it couldn't have been an aircraft, airplane or absolutely anything. It was just bright light. It was just fantastic. Just really, really great.
Are people concluding that they're UFOs?
They are, because there's no other explanation to it. They're looking at, as we spoke of, the process of elimination. It's not a plane, it's not a chopper, it's something that cannot be explained.
So it's unidentified?
Yes.
Do they think it's something from outside this planet?
Yes, they do. From beyond this planet, that is what they're looking at.
Well,
that's nothing from this world.
If we can come to you now, Kerry, if we can have final numbers for yesterday.
Yes, we had a total of 105 people.
The sightings have created enormous excitement among true believers. At this committee meeting for the fledgling UFO Encounters group, the feeling is one of anticipation.
People were talking about yesterday the love that they feel and the response that they have.
Oh, absolutely.
And quite a few people, I heard them say, I can't give it to you in words because I have a feeling in here, a love that I have never felt before, and I have no words to describe that to you.
There are no words. That love, once you've been touched by it, you can never be the same again.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Ufology or UFO research is like panning for gold. You have a whole lot of dirt and rubbish in the dish, but somewhere along the end of the line you hope you're going to get some of the real thing.
Of course, not everyone is as readily convinced that these are visitations from another planet.
Well, I think that they've been helium-filled balloons, and with this little thing on the bottom here, they could be tied to the balloons and inserted into the balloon and then released.
So, pranksters attaching fluorescent sticks to helium-filled balloons threatens to undermine the concept that another life form has arrived.
Do you hear something?
Hear what?
I don't hear. Listen.
Is it possible that this is simply a hoax with balloons and fluoro sticks attached?
The only thing that I can say to you about that, Jill, is that the formation that people are seeing and the movement that these objects are making, it eliminates totally that idea.
We went outside, there was 5 glowing orange lights in the sky.
There's been no official explanation for the lights. Defence Force authorities say they no longer track UFO sightings, leaving the research to volunteer UFO groups.
When I investigated UFOs for the British government, I found that hoaxing was not as common as a lot of people thought, and people were genuinely very sincere.
Nick Pope is a former UFO investigator for the British Defence Ministry. In his experience, many calls are quite likely to be legitimate UFO sightings.
There's a common myth that these things are seen by people coming back, from having a drink, say, late at night. But here with the Victoria sightings, you've got a lot of people reporting the same thing, so undoubtedly there is something happening.
Will they come back again?
Not on such a nice day.
Make up your own mind. Jill Colgan with that report. And that...
Close encounters down under. One woman's incredible story and the scientist who can't dismiss it.
And then I felt this blow to my stomach and I went flying back through the air and landed back there somewhere on the grass, and I heard my husband say, "Let go of me," and this male voice saying, "We don't mean you any harm."
Independence Day, the UFO movie taking America by storm, will be landing here later this week. The Hollywood blockbuster, along with that meteorite from Mars with its primitive life forms, has sparked new interest in that old question, is there anybody out there?
Well, we sent Chris Simmond on an extraterrestrial mission, and he discovered one Australian woman who says she's already had an encounter of the closest kind, and that was with some tall, dark and bug-eyed strangers.
What I saw, to me, was definitely a UFO. There was no doubt about it in my mind whatsoever.
I had the distinct feeling that all the time that I was being watched.
The whole cumulative mass of evidence is what I find compelling.
I think there's a good chance that there are other civilizations out there.
If you're still grappling with the concept of flying saucers, check out these encounters. Worldwide sightings, many verified by independent witnesses, suggest perhaps not all should be classified as a hoax. So, if we are being observed from alien transport, is it possible some are actually landing and making contact?
I'm passionately interested in whether or not there are people out there, and yes, I think there's a good chance there might be, and I'd really love to find out if there are or not.
This is a very nearby galaxy, NGC 253.
While the CSIRO's senior stargazer, astrophysicist Dr. Ray Norris says he doesn't believe in UFOs, it seems he'd like to.
I'm not convinced by any of the sightings. I'm not saying they're not real. Again, I'd like to keep an open mind, but there's nothing I've seen that's convinced me.
Narrow base 921, can you execute a 180-degree turn?
The theory about UFOs is you don't believe in them until you've seen one.
921, commencing 180-degree turn.
I looked up ahead and I could see a bright light.
Complete 360, return to track.
It crossed in front of me and then came over on the port side. A very bright, intense white light, which was centrally placed over the top of. All I could make out was a dark shadow underneath it. I couldn't see anything clear in the shape because the light was so bright.
Narrow base 921.
Flying solo in 1954, Navy pilot Seamus O'Farrell changed his mind about extraterrestrial possibilities when two strange craft buzzed him, then came alongside, one at each wingtip. Ground radar confirmed he wasn't hallucinating.
Got you coming in from the west. In fact, we've got 3 aircraft there. Which one are you? And this gave me a great warm feeling, I can tell you, because I then said, I'm the centre one.
International UFO researchers claim O'Farrell's sighting as one of the most credible ever.
What do you think you saw that night?
2 unidentified flying objects that were very advanced for their day in terms of speed and performance, and to this day I have no other explanation for them.
When last surveyed, 42% of Australians said they actually believed in the existence of UFOs. Now that's 8 million of us believing in something for which there has never been any conclusive proof. But when it comes to believing in aliens abducting Earthlings, most people say, well, that's the stuff that movies are made of. Others, though, are saying that perhaps it is feasible. Perhaps it explains why hundreds of Australians disappear each year without a trace. But there's one woman who believes it's eminently possible. She actually had her own experience at this location in country Victoria exactly 3 years ago.
We looked over to the field on the right and there was this big UFO sitting there.
Kelly Cale showed Today Tonight the spot where she and her husband claim they saw an alien spacecraft.
Basically took up the whole view from here. That's all you could see was orange lights and this blue stuff underneath.
Kelly's sketch of what she saw bears a striking resemblance to how other witnesses parked 100 metres down the road remember it. Likewise, the description of the aliens that suddenly appeared.
The black faces with the eyes lit up red.
Larger than normal eyes?
Oh, huge.
Then, in no time at all, Kelly says these strange beings transported themselves to where she was standing.
And then I felt this blow to my stomach, and I went flying back through the air and landed back there somewhere on the grass. And I heard my husband say, "Let go of me," and this male voice saying, "We don't mean you any harm."
Kelly's case is quite fascinating in the sense that we're not just relying on one person's testimony here. We're dealing with, in fact, two separate cars that had a total of 5 people.
One of Australia's foremost ufologists, Bill Chalker, has documented numerous Australian sightings in his book, The Oz Files.
Each of the 3 women involved in this experience all had similar effects, marks on their abdomens and also severe gynecological effects.
One of the more extraordinary claims is that Kelly and 2 women from the car down the road were possibly abducted, held down and examined. Kelly has documented her encounter in a book to be launched next week.
Does it worry you that some people will read this book and consider you to be a bit of a crank?
I know I look ridiculous. I'm not an unintelligent woman. I know that my story sounds ridiculous. That's what happened. And yet there are, as I said, there is physical evidence out there. There are marks out on the field. There were marks on our bodies. There was something definitely went on.
There have been analysts, scientists right over this area, checking out soil samples and everything. What exactly did they find?
Well, the first thing that they found was a magnetic anomaly in the shape of a crescent or a semicircle. Plus there were also quite a few unusual chemical changes in the soil.
We've tried to eavesdrop for any signals coming from these other civilizations. We spent 4 months last year going around all the nearby stars that might have planets around them, seeing if we could detect any radio signals, TV signals, radar signals, whatever. And we didn't find anything.
What would have to happen for you to be totally convinced that UFOs exist?
If somebody came up with, if a spacecraft landed on the top of Parliament House and there's a TV crew there, wow, I'd suddenly be convinced then.
Well, I don't know about a spacecraft landing on Parliament House. It's more likely to be a hot air balloon, isn't it? And don't forget that Witness has a special report on alien encounters at 9:30 this evening. We'll be beamed back right after this short break.